Welcome to UFO report number 52. Before we get into the news reports that you see in the title, I do have a letter I need to read. But first, let me cue some real solemn, sad music. Oh yeah, just like that. That sounds good. Let me just read it real quick so we can get it out the way because ain't nobody got time for this. So here we go. Dear Manny, I want to tell you that I am completely and utterly disgusted with you. You are a scourge to what is good in ufology. I hope that one day, before it's too late, you wake up and smell the coffee of life that's brewing, because if anyone's doing rubber dicking, it is you who has placed the negative spin of all that is evil and fanaticism. It is you that has messed up the entire world of podcasting, of your nasty little podcast and your trivial pursuits. I hope one day you'll heed my warning and you'll stop this madness before it's too late. Signed, Robo O. P.S. Where's my money, bitch? I don't know what to tell him. You know, Robo O had a good run here, but he didn't cut the mustard. Unfortunately, there were too many technical issues. I wish him well, Robo O, and he seems really mad about it. I don't know what money he's talking about, but I feel sorry for him. If you see Robo O out there, he might just be hanging out with Big O. If you see them out there, just give him my condolences and my heartfelt apologies. But the damn show must go on. Anyway, hey, listen, we survived the apocalypse. Thanks, David Meade, for screwing that one up. I went and I got all these supplies because I wanted front row seat for the second coming, or, Nibiru crashing into us. Whatever it is that he figured was going to happen. And I think it was a Nibiru thing. But David Meade really screwed the pooch on that one. In October, hide your puppies and your dogs and your cats because he's out to be screwing again. Because now he says we misinterpreted, or not we, somebody misinterpreted what he predicted using his little numerology deal. And it wasn't supposed to be this past weekend that we were all going to bite the bullet. Apparently it's going to happen in October. And it's not going to be, I guess, apocalyptic because what we're going to get is like 7 years of bullshit. Earth to David Meade. Have you not seen the news lately? I think that this 7 years of a bad run already started without you. You're the one who needs to get on the train and freaking plug into CNN or Fox News. But don't get it twisted, because Mr. David Meade's prediction, which apparently, and I didn't know this until just recently, he predicted this from a code that he found in the Bible. So apparently the Bible is telling him, through the use of numbers, that basically the world was supposed to end September 23rd. And if it doesn't end then, add 2, carry the 1, it'll happen in October. But David Meade really has screwed over a different David Meade out across the pond. There is a David Meade from Ireland that apparently spells his name the exact same way. That David Meade is a mentalist. So, when you're searching Twitter and you're looking for someone to blame for the end of the world, and you're happy to be looking for a David Meade, you come across a guy that is a mentalist. Well, he's as good a David Meade as anybody. I mean, it doesn't say that he's a doctor, a PhD. He's not a clown. He doesn't dance for a living. He's a mentalist. So what other kind of a rubber dicker would you need? Apparently, being a mentalist was all people needed to associate the prediction of the upcoming apocalypse with that David Meade. That David Meade has been getting death threats. Thanks to the David Meade that hangs out here in the US. Now, if that wasn't enough to drive David Meade from across the pond totally apeshit bananas, a very smart and well-researched Fox News anchor put a story together regarding the apocalypse, and lo and behold, numbnuts decided to attach the Twitter feed of the David Meade, the mentalist in Ireland, not the numerologist. So now his Twitter is on fire with people saying that he's a complete idiot because he screwed up the end of the world. And you know what gets me is, it's like, were you guys really waiting for the world to end? So now what? What's the follow-up to this? Well, now we know. The follow-up is, pull yourself up by the big girl panties because the apocalypse is coming, you dummy. It's just delayed by a month. And let's just go back to David Meade, the planet killer. Apparently, David Meade is really convinced that Nibiru exists. And he says that even though that NASA says Planet X does not exist, he is, and I quote, stating, "The existence of Planet X is beyond my reasonable doubt. So was the end of the world." I added that at the end. That wasn't him. The only thing I can say about that is, we've covered stories here from NASA where many scientists are saying that there is a significant mass outside of the Kuiper Belt in the outer stretches of the solar system that appears to be impacting many of the moons at the edge of the solar system that we know. So, I mean, what he's saying doesn't go without merit. There is some scientific evidence that something is creating a gravitational pull at the edge of the solar system, but somehow that doesn't translate into the world's coming to an end. But hey, what can you do? The article is fascinating because it talks about both David Meades and their situations. It's in the description. Check it out. I mean, why not? I did.
Coming to you from the hills of Texas, right here. UFO Buster Radio is now on the air. You can visit Manny and Big O at UFOBusterRadio.com. That's right, this is Bubba Doohickey saying, boys, squeal like a pig. Oink, oink, oink.
Listen, don't forget to check out UFO Buster Radio on the Facebook pages, Manny Moonraker, UFO Buster Radio, on Instagram at Manny Moonraker, Twitter, UFO Buster Radio, UFOBusterRadio.com, and last but not least, UBR Truth Seekers Group on Facebook. The more people I can get in there, the more I can make that one of the primary avenues of discussion. And, you don't have to take my word for it. Just go in there, check it out. You'll see that people are always chatting away and posting things in there. And a lot of the times, as you've heard over the last few weeks, I will pick some of those stories to put on this podcast to share with all of you who are not in the group. So what are you waiting for? Anyway, this next story is something that we expected. We knew it was coming because it was the single most rubber-dicking story. Well, it's a close for first over the summer. So, this has to do with the NAZCA mummies, Jaime Maussan, the guys in Russia, and Gaia. So the headline news, which broke maybe like a few hours ago, is that basically the alien hunters that hoped to prove the NAZCA tombs contained extraterrestrials have been left shell-shocked after DNA tests of the mummies returned and found DNA that belonged to humans. That's right, you heard it here again, because it's not the first time that we said this is probably a rubber-dicking scientist who decided to take all these bodies, stick them together, and say they were alien. And people like Jaime Maussan and Gaia just ate it all up. So one of the mummies tested basically to have the genetic makeup of a male Homo sapien. And that came from the DNA laboratories at Lakehead University in Ontario, Canada. And I guess the report is now available online if you want to go take a look-see. If you're the science geeky type, check it out. Now, with all of this, it turns out also that the one mummy that was known as Maria actually showed that her DNA makeup was female, and that the carbon dating for the hands and body, because of course the issue is the whole 3-fingered and 3-toed hands and body, but they showed that the body parts were unlikely to have been manipulated because the carbon dating samples actually matched both body parts, the hand, the arm, and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't mean that they match the same DNA. Basically, they came from the same time period. So, I mean, they could have just taken some unfortunate woman and chopped her hands off and lined up her fingers to make Maria's a little longer. I mean, who knows? This gets kind of creepy, but nobody knows what's really going on. However, the scientist, Dr. Korotkov, who has been working with Gaia, says pretty much what the DNA is saying is that there is evidence of a likeness of it being humanoid. However, that there still needs to be more conclusive evidence that this is not really an entity that is human-like, with similar markers in DNA that may still show, according to him, some variations which would make it not human. So basically, this thing could have come from outer space, shared, 90% of the DNA with humans, and that's why it's humanoid or Homo sapien DNA is in it. Now, Jaime Maussan is saying that they still have to run the tests on the little lizard people, the couple, the one that had the eggs in the belly from the x-ray. But you know what, Jaime, you and the boys are batting 0. Chances are somebody muck with this too, and we continue to waste our time with this story. So, folks, it's time to say goodbye to the NAZCA mummies. It's a shame that it took them so long to admit that they were wrong. And in a way, it's kind of like a backhanded slap. I'm wrong, but screw you. There's still a tiny little bit, a little chance, a little bit of sliver of hope that this wasn't all a rubber dicking. There are other scientists who are saying right now the chances are that these bodies were actually put together by grave robbers. They might have left us behind, and it was found by Tom, Dick, and Harry, and they didn't know any better, and they still don't. So hey, that is the stories for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Follow, share, keep the conversation going, subscribe, but whatever you do, don't be a rubber dicker. Ciao.